president is a serious job. It's not hosting a talk show.
Will never be president.
Joe Biden promised Ukraine $1 billion if they fired the prosecutor investigating his son's company.
If the prosecutor's not fired, you're not getting the money. Oh, son of a bitch. Got fired.
But when President Trump asks Ukraine to investigate corruption, the Democrats want to impeach him, and their media lapdogs fall in line. They lost the election. Now they want to steal this one. Don't let them.
I'm Donald Trump, and I approve this message.
And welcome once again. Another episode of Fighting for the Republic. And yes, I do have a window open. I better close that. We ain't there yet. How is everybody doing? I hope everybody's having a great weekend at this point. And we'll continue to have a great Monday. Coming up, especially, we have a guest, and it is Beadmaker. How you doing?
Hey, Rusty. How are you?
Doing good. How about yourself?
I'm glad I got a day off tomorrow.
There you go. That makes your Monday.
It does.
I don't even know where to get started on all this. There's been a lot of developments happening, and very rapidly as usual. Only once in a while will you get a chance to actually breathe. Where do you think we ought to start? I mean, there's so much going on with Crazy Joe. I'm gonna call him Crazy Joe. I mean, I hate saying it, but you know, the guy's a little wacky and whacked out.
He is. I think we go for the elephant in the room.
The elephant in the room. Okay, the elephant in the room is obviously the declassifications of the whole kit and caboodle Obamagate. And the president signed that order.
I think that there is going to be a whole lot more released. Mm-hmm. It wouldn't shock me after we get through Obamagate to see Trump release on 9/11, to see him release on the Kennedy assassination. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to be surprised by anything that comes out in the next couple of months, but I think we need to get through Obamagate as a nation first. Mm-hmm. And I think that that's a first concern. Heard a rumor that a grand jury has been seated on the Hillary Clinton email investigation. Don't know for a fact that's true, but that's what I heard. Mm-hmm. I think that we better be prepared for anything that could come out. Once these declassifications start, and Trump did say repeatedly he wants everything released. That means, man, you're going back 40, 50 years. That's big time.
That's a lot of reading.
It is. And it's going to be a lot of reality for a lot of people.
I know, and I've already told a few people they better watch out, because shit. I mean, you could say shit's going to hit the fan, but it literally is now. He's done playing.
Yeah, I think so too. I think that he is so angry that I don't think anything but the full truth, full disclosure is going to satisfy him.
Yeah, I mean...
Period. I that's just what I think.
Yeah, I totally agree, because I think, when Nancy started going off, well, I got my quiver and we got a lot of arrows, yada, yada, yada. I think that was the last straw.
And I think it started with that Joe Biden ad where where Trump was allegedly standing at the graveside of a veteran and was being disparaging. Now, I think anybody, even an enemy of Trump, would know better than to make that mistake. I think that was the start of the anger coming out,
Right.
and they haven't and won't see the end of it until he is completely satisfied that they are taking responsibility for the things that they've done. And that's both sides of the aisle. I don't think he's being particular. I think he's going for anybody. If you're corrupt, you're going down. And
Right.
God bless him for doing it, because it takes a lot of guts.
It's way overdue. And you got
It is.
you got to give him a lot of credit. He's have a lot of patience. He has tried his best, but they went one step too far.
I agree. They went a step too far, and that was all it took. So any chance they had of having an opportunity to backpedal was gone a long time ago.
Yeah. Well, when it's not only they keep pushing this fake narrative of the Russians were paid to assassinate Americans in Syria and Iraq and wherever. He says it's not true. Okay, it's not true. Drop it.
Right.
They can't prove it.
They're not going to give him. Nope. But they're not going to give Trump any chance of being able to defend against it. That's why they don't report on it or his responses to it on mainstream or lamestream media, as I refer to them.
Yeah, exactly. That's perfect analogy for them. They are lame.
They are.
Michael Ratcliffe, I think that's his first name, Michael Ratcliffe, was on Sunday morning.
John Radcliffe.
John, excuse me. Thank you for correction.
No, that's okay.
Well, I like to get it correct. Let's see. I had it up here. And I better shrink it because you can't see it. Okay. Let's see what he said.
According to Ratcliffe's this declassification, we have now proof that Obama and Biden directed their administration to use the powers of the government to attack their political enemy, that being Donald Trump. Who, in your opinion, was the mastermind? And tell me what was going on here.
Well, we now know that not only was this a Russian collusion hoax, but that it was known to be a Russian collusion hoax by career intelligence officials. And that's a really big distinction. We now know that insiders in the government, at the CIA, at DOJ, at FBI, they knew that this was a Russian collusion hoax, and they allowed it to go forward for a variety of reasons. They were convinced that Hillary would win, and they didn't really want to challenge Goliath. They thought that their careers could be benefited if they just shut up. But here is the key to this whole argument that politicians in Washington need to focus on. I would also say the president's cabinet members and the inspector generals all need to focus on. Right now we have Comey and Brennan and others saying that they didn't know that this was a Russian collusion hoax. Their people knew. And so what we need to figure out is what level are these individuals going to go to jail? Somebody needs to go to jail and be prosecuted first, obviously. And this is a slam dunk. They lied to the American people. They knew a truth and they hid the truth. This can never happen again. We cannot allow our government to weaponize information to hold it back. You know, now we've got Joe Biden literally saying that the American people don't deserve certain information. He got caught on a camera saying that. This is the ways of Washington. We need transparency, Maria. It's a very foreign concept in Washington, D.C., but the American people need to understand that those in Washington are hiding information from them. They think we're stupid.
So, Rick.
Well, yeah, because he was sitting there, because he was asked once again about packing the courts. And he said, well, you don't need to know that.
I love Rick Grinnell. He's just puts it out there just as it is. Great guy. I really like him. I always did. I sincerely hope that after Trump wins on the 3rd, Grinnell finds his way back into our government. I think we need that breath of fresh air in his honesty.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that he's the kind of guy where you pretty much always know where you stand because he's not afraid to tell you.
That's the kind of people we need in office, especially like our president.
Exactly.
And I was talking to somebody today, and I was kind of giving them a heads up. Reality's about ready to hit. And he says, well, the president got sick because he wanted sympathy. No, he didn't. I thought that was one of the dumbest things I've heard. Yeah, I'm going to get it so I can get sympathy. Really?
Yeah, I don't think he needs sympathy.
No. I mean, I really believe he really takes one for the team, literally every single day.
I agree.
And I don't understand why people don't understand that he is doing this for all of us, not just a few, but everybody.
They don't want to understand. That doesn't fit their narrative.
It's kind of weird.
Yeah.
But when it comes back to the Clinton emails, I still believe we've had them all this time for 3 years.
Oh, I think we have too.
Because
I think we have too.
We had Admiral Rogers, who was with the NSA, and I believe he got him. I am truly a believer of that.
I think that we owed Admiral Rogers a debt that as a nation we will never be able to repay.
Him and many others deserve the Medal of Freedom, including General Flynn.
I agree.
I'm a big advocate of that.
Yeah, I think that the people who have been behind the scenes and working through this, and have really, I mean, as frustrated as we get when we think, quote unquote, things aren't happening, they know exactly what is happening. Oh. And I think that they deserve every bit of credit that we can possibly give them.
Absolutely, including Ruffcliffe. All of them. These guys really put their necks out on the line for everybody.
Yes, they have. Yes, they have. And I think that it's important that we, as a nation, remember the victims of what's been happening in this country for far too long. And by that, I mean Benghazi, Syria, Afghanistan, all of the things that have been questionable need to be acknowledged and addressed by this country. And I think Trump is doing the right thing.
Well, when you mentioned Benghazi, after that, and I was looking at how the slave trade was and how come BLM doesn't actually go in after them because they still have the slave trade. It got worse after Gaddafi fell in Libya.
Very much so.
But they don't want
very much so.
But they don't want to talk about them other countries. And actually, the fact is, the African nation while our country was still in its infancy, sold the wrong people.
Exactly.
But when it comes to, but getting back on track, there was actually a few other things when it comes to the emails and everything. There's a story of Durham is using the grand jury to investigate debunked Russia, Trump allegations, which I didn't think he would really do that.
I haven't heard anything about it, so I'm kind of questioning where is that info coming from?
Yeah, it is. It's come from the Daily Caller, which usually you can count on. But I thought that was a weird story coming from them. Why would you use a grand jury for that anyway? So that is one.
Yeah, no, I'm not buying that.
Yeah, because it doesn't exist.
I would need to hear that from another reliable source.
Right. I totally agree. I just thought it was a very interesting story that came about. It just caught my eye. But
yeah, I think that they're going to use every single thing they can as best they can just to try and get through what they know is coming.
Right. Well, and there's other people who I hear a lot saying, well, again, when are the arrests? They got to understand, which is not hard to get. You got to have you got to take this to a grand jury. And if there is indictments, we're not going to know about it.
Well, the big thing is people don't realize what all goes into putting together a case like that. There is nothing that's going to be quick about this, and we shouldn't want it to be.
No.
What we want is thorough. We want deep investigation. We want there to be absolutely no doubt. I mean, not even reasonable doubt. No doubt at all should be able to be applied to the case when it goes before a jury. You don't want to say, oh, you did this and we know you did it, so we're going to arrest you now.
Yeah.
And not have a way of sealing the cell.
Right.
Does that make sense?
It does. Well,
so you're talking it can be years in investigation with a case this big.
Oh yeah. And they probably barely scratched the surface. You're talking, what, 40, 50 years of corruption, if not longer.
Oh, yeah. And, depending upon who you listen to or who you read or whatever, I was kind of floored by a guy I saw on a podcast one night. His name is Wayne Jett. He is actually an economist, I believe. And he takes it all the way back to 33, I think, 32, 33. And what was going on with our U.S. dollar. And that's when, as you remember, gold was taken away from American citizens. And he takes it all the way back to that and the importance of the events that came out of that time in American history. And it's really pretty darn fascinating when you look at it from his perspective. I mean, he's got some very valuable points to make.
Yeah, well, you have not only that. I mean, I looked into different things today, and I found out. I think it was FDR was the last person who tried to pack the courts. I didn't know that. I just stumbled across it. But as you said, there's so much stuff that we do not know about.
Right.
So many presidents. We kind of speculate about Kennedy because he was really famous, and with all the different scandals with Marilyn Monroe, what have you. But
Right.
the I think this the last administration is the one that's really going to explode, really get everybody's attention, and it's going to be more fascinating than any of the others, because of the magnitude. Never in this whole damn how do you want to say existence of this country has anybody ever done this.
I think it was simply a matter of time, because to them it's all about the money. They don't care about you and me.
No, they don't.
They don't care about the fact that, we're just trying to get along. We're just trying to make it. They don't care about that. That means nothing to them. The only thing that means anything to them is lining their pocket.
It's staying out of prison. I think
Yeah,
that's one of the
pretty
big
much.
ones right now.
And getting away with it.
Well, Clinton's gone away with it for so long. Hey, David, please share out and like, if you don't mind, everybody in the audience. When it comes to this coup, it actually sounds like they're trying to plot another one. I mean, listen to the language of Pelosi. Brennan is tapping a certain person, I forgot her name, for a position in the administration. Yeah, like Trump is actually going to take Brennan's advice. I mean, does he really? What the hell is he thinking? But it's the way Pelosi's already talked about the 25th Amendment. Now, speculation, of course, but it sounds like it's either going to be for Joe, which I doubt, he will be president, but they didn't rule out Trump either. To me, that's a coup.
For John Brennan to think anybody would even consider somebody he would recommend is almost, it truly is laughable. I just chuckled as soon as you said it. I'm like, what? Yeah, no.
Hey, she's a really good person. Why don't you hire her?
Yeah. No.
Trust her?
I'm shocked that it would even have been considered. That's ridiculous.
And they were ahead of our intelligence too. Good Lord. But
it's incredible.
Holy shit.
Yeah. That's putting it mildly right there, Rusty. Yeah. Because anybody who thinks even for 1 second that these guys aren't involved in some major corruption is crazy.
Well, even a lot of the indictments have already went out there, like for CEOs and people overseas, China spies. And, for years I've been hearing, oh my God, indictments. Who could they all be, right? I don't know. I said they could be anybody. And
yep.
And I sit there and look at it like, okay, this is fine if they are need to be indicted, indict them, but people have been going on and on and on and on. We're all just guessing. But it's just common sense who is going to be. As far as I'm concerned. I mean, but it hasn't even gone anywhere. But when it comes to Comey saying Yates told him to do it. Yates saying Comey dropped the ball. Now they're playing the blame game.
Well, they're playing the pass go without going to jail is what they're doing. They're trying to keep themselves out of prison.
Nope.
It's not going to work. They did these things, and they need to be held accountable. I mean, it's just that simple.
Well,
you and I would be held accountable. I mean, my God, you and I would already been faced a firing squad if we did 1/10 of what some of these people have done.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And it's funny because I already can tell Clapper's cracked. He just does not seem the most skilled person there.
Yeah, he's scared, and he should be.
They all should be, but they're all arrogant. That's the problem.
They all thought she wouldn't lose.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it came down to. They all thought she would never lose. They believed their own press polls. And that was their first mistake.
Mm-hmm.
It was also their last one because Trump got it. I think that America recognized that if we didn't have Trump, it was over for this country. I think that a lot of citizens realized it and reacted accordingly and voted accordingly.
Oh, yeah. Well, we still face that danger this year.
I agree.
Even though the president can get elected, which is extremely highly he will, we got to keep that Senate and get the House.
Absolutely, I agree. Without it, we really aren't going to be able to continue to pull out of it the way that this country needs to. It's both a terrifying and a fascinating time to be alive, if that makes sense.
It does.
History is it's going to be interesting to see how history reflects this country 50 years from now.
Mm-hmm.
Did we had to fight as a nation to free ourselves from tyranny 200 years ago.
Right.
How many of us today are willing to lay our lives on the line to continue to preserve it? And that's the question I have. Who was it? Who said I would rather die on my feet than be enslaved on my knees? Who said that?
Oh, I use that all the time. I forgot who it was, though. Shoot.
Was it Ethan? What was his last name?
The name eludes me right now.
Yeah, I'm not pulling it out either, but it just seems to me that we have some incredibly brave warriors or people who have that warrior mentality in this country, but it makes me question, do we have enough of them? I sincerely hope so, because I think we are going to need them.
Well, I'm already on record saying if the president wants me, I'm there. Whatever he wants me to do, I will be there.
Right. Yeah, I'm hearing some, and I haven't been able to verify it with anybody that I know, so I'm kind of hesitant talking about it, but it has been something that's kind of been tweaking my interest now, because the first time I heard about it was about 2 months ago, and that is because of some type of a I guess wouldn't necessarily say it was a treaty, but some type of a business deal between Canada and China. China has set up thousands of their troops on the U.S. border.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And I had heard about it a couple of months ago, but nobody could verify it for me. And then the other day, a friend sent me a report that actually had film of them. Now, the problem with that is that film could have been taken anywhere. And you really have to question, because so much of what we see on the internet and so much of what we're seeing, you know, in quote unquote underground news is nothing but garbage.
Right.
And so you really have to be careful with how you're looking at some of this stuff. So if anybody could verify that, that would be awesome. I'm really, really, really curious as to what the situation is with that story. I found it rather frightening, but I also found it pretty fascinating. I'd love to know if what I'm hearing is in any way, shape, or form correct.
That's funny you actually said that, and I didn't know you were going to bring that up. But I did look that up last night. And yes,
Did you really?
I did, yes. Here,
So I'm not the only one hearing these stories.
No, somebody mentioned it to me. I go, what do you mean? So I thought, okay, well, I'll just look it up, and let me look it up. I know I can find it because I did last night. What they're doing is an exercise in Canada.
Yeah. Exercise in what?
Yeah, exactly. Well, Trudeau.
And why is it happening on the U.S. border?
No, because Trudeau's a puss.
Oh, he's a piece of garbage. And those idiots up there keep electing him.
Well, maybe they had the same problem as we do, or did, with Obama. Okay. I would have brought this up if I'd known. Yeah, I really did find it. Let me see if I'm able to.
I'm sorry, I should have. I really didn't mean to talk about it because I don't like talking about stuff I haven't had a chance to confirm. But
oh, you're fine.
This was the second person who sent me a video. And I'm like, the problem with these videos that you're showing me is you can't guarantee where these troops are located. You can say it's Canada, but what is the proof that that's exactly where it was? The film was, was shot, because you don't know.
I know where I could actually find it because I sent it to somebody yesterday. God, who the hell? Oh, I know what I did with it. Yeah, it was the damnedest thing. Let me to go back a little bit. Yep, there it is.
You found it?
I found it. Let's see. Hold on a second. Get rid of this ad. Hold on. There we go. Let me bring it up. But I was really surprised. I don't know why the hell they would allow something like this. You said a treaty?
Yeah, it was some kind of an agreement.
Okay, here it is. It says Chinese military, lake soldiers. I got something in my way here. In Spring Island, St. Spring Island, Canada.
Yep, that's the video I saw.
Military personnel on the road coming up. Check out this. Holy cow.
That's scary.
Whoa. On Salt Spring Island. And they're all Chinese military. Wow. I wonder what it is. Huh. Crazy.
But that is supposedly an exercise. But the way I actually saw something in a Q drop, and I didn't read it, but it did show, and it pointed to Canada. He said 2 different locations. So we'll have to keep an eye on that one. There's
Yeah, because one of them I think is British Columbia, and then the other one's Alberta, is what I heard. I don't know.
As many of
I'm
you
just
are
finding
aware-
it absolutely.
Go ahead.
I'm finding it fascinating that we aren't hearing more about it.
That's true. I found another video if you'd like to see it.
I would.
As many of you are aware, we've been talking about a Russian-Chinese invasion for the last few months. And now there are thousands of Chinese troops in Canada, according to this article. Notice what it says. Arm yourselves and prepare. China massing tens of thousands of troops in Prince Rupert and Vancouver, Canada. Invade USA? It goes on to say, under a treaty signed in late 2019 with Canada, the People's Liberation Army of China has been quietly massing military troops in Canada since the beginning of 2020. And those troops are believed to be readying for an actual military invasion of the United States. While it has long been rumored that China began massing troops and armor in southern Mexico for a similar invasion goal, word of such troops appearing in Canada only began this year. Those rumors were pretty much laughed off until video emerged this week of Chinese troops on a back road of Salt Spring Island near Vancouver, British Columbia. Here is that video.
Check out this. Holy cow. Whoa.
That's
On
same
Salt
video.
Spring Island. And they're all Chinese military. Wow. I wonder what it is.
Now the video
Yep,
you
the
just
same
watched
video.
is from
And
2018, but it shows the evidence of Chinese troops being allowed to be in Canada. Notice here, another headline says, Canada today invaded by Chinese troops. The article goes
Now,
on
wasn't
to
that
say,
video
under the
originally
term-
from 2018?
Yeah, the one with the troops. This is post.
Yeah.
Actually today.
Yeah, but I think that actual video came from 2018.
Yes.
And I guess that's because there's just too many conflicts in the information that I'm hearing.
Mm-hmm.
I gotta step back from it. I'm concerned if it's really happening, and I think that it's something we need to pay attention to.
Mm-hmm.
But I also think it is something that some of our more inventive, real journalists in the lamestream media would have come out with. We'd have heard more screaming, and we haven't. So I'm tending to think at this point, maybe it was a training exercise in 2018, but I don't know if we need to believe it for 2020. Although, it's 2020.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Seeing Godzilla march through the center of a major city wouldn't be a surprise to any of us.
No kidding. Well, see, because they can't do this, and they won't do it because people like the chief editors of CNN, who are never Trumpers, are, and if you ever watch Project Veritas about that, the real journalists are a little pissy because they are not allowed to tell the real stories. There's people out
I just
there.
think that somebody, like Veritas or somebody would have gotten a hold of it. John Solomon, Sarah Carter, Tucker Carlson, even Hannity. Somebody would have been talking about it. Jesse Waters, any of those, they're not afraid to tell the truth.
Mm-hmm.
Guys would have found it.
Right. That's a good point. That's a very good point because they would, especially John Sullivan and Sarah Carter.
I'm watching your D Live chat, Yeah, and David just posted our military and government already know. And you know what, David? I think you're probably right. But I would think that if this was as big an issue as, it's kind of being presented to be, that we would have heard more about it by now.
Well,
although, they don't want to come to my state because everybody here is open carry. We've all got weapons. Nobody wants to pull that crap here.
Can you see him marching down Detroit Street? That wouldn't work very well. I don't think the neighborhood would go for that. Even though, because it's probably dangerous down that way. But if you look at the Chinese behavior, because we are putting so much pressure on them financially in tariffs, like $300 billion, notice how aggressive they become towards India, China Sea. So this
and I noticed that with those, didn't we release some new ships or launch some new ships for our U.S. Navy in this past week?
Mm-hmm. We did.
I thought I saw a video on some really cool looking stuff that was launched and sent to the South China Sea. More, I think, as a show of force and a protection of Taiwan than anything else. But I think that considering the Asian mentality and what little I know about the Asian mentality, especially with the Japanese, I know this to be true. They are a society of honor.
Mm-hmm.
And if someone does something that destroys their honor, some will take it so far as to commit suicide instead of atoning. That is their form of atonement.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not so positive if it's the same with China, but I think that President Xi feels that Trump humiliated him, embarrassed him by striking the deal that he did. I mean, no sooner do they sign the deal than Trump is like, yeah, the Chinese just bought, so many billions of dollars worth of American rice, American soy. I mean, things that grow rampant in China.
Mm-hmm.
Why? But Trump was almost making fun of it, that he had signed that deal and he had gotten Xi to sign that deal.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that it humiliated Xi. And so I don't put anything past a humiliated Chinese or Japanese person.
Well,
honor, very, very important to them.
Yeah, that is true. Well, they dishonor themselves by acting this way, especially towards Hong Kong.
I agree.
And with the Arona, and Trump's already says, "You're screwed, China. We're going to get you one way or another. You're going to pay for this." And it's not just, I think it's going to be the whole entire fucking world. Really.
Against China, you mean?
Against China. They're going to have absolutely a total bankrupt economy. It's going to totally collapse. They're not going to go military. It's going to go financial.
Yeah, I can see that happening. I could see, China falling under economic pressure.
Mm-hmm.
Because let's face it, I don't think Russia has the money to back them or lift them out of their hole. But at the same time, I can also see them forming allegiances with countries that are not necessarily our friends.
Well, Russia and you mean Russia and China?
I think Russia and China are very closer than the U.S. and Russia, certainly.
Sure.
But I think that we're talking about countries from the Middle East that would bosom up to a relationship with China pretty quickly.
Wow, who could that be? That could be Russia, or excuse me, Iran. So you got to be Russia into the mind.
Syria.
Syria. Well, Russia is more pals with them because they still have I believe they still have a base there. I haven't been able to.
Yeah.
Hey, Wayne. I have not got a chance to look at Stars and Stripes because I think it's really good, and you do find stuff like the new ships that we're getting. Trump has already said we have a supersonic missile. You know, that ought to scare the hell out of them.
Yeah. Hey, Wayne, I agree with you. Wayne just posted something in Periscope. I think that, again, last week we had talked about the importance of situational awareness. Mm-hmm. And when these stories started coming to me on the Canadian border, I'm several hundred miles away from the Canadian border, but you could do it in a few hours drive, Right. I, honest to God, don't think that China would be foolish enough to just invade on the ground. Mm-hmm. And I guess that's where my concern with the story comes from is they're going to go to air power and sea power before they ever have a boot cross a border.
Right.
Well, and while most of, you've got 90 million Americans who are legal gun owners and, can defend their personal property against anyone on the ground, that is not going to necessarily be the case for something in the air or something coming by sea.
Right.
Yeah, I wouldn't, I don't, again, until I can verify it, I don't want to start thinking about all the possibilities that could come out of that.
Right. Well, Canada's got a lot of explaining to do.
Yes, they do.
I would
Mr.
love to be
Trudeau.
a fly on the wall on that conversation with Trudeau. But we're also navigating through the China Sea that is still international waters. And we are taking a fleet through there. And it's more like up yours, China.
Well, yeah, and I think it's a show of support for Taiwan.
Yes. I love Taiwan. I think it would be great if they would ever be able to break free from China or any country that's under the suppression.
I agree.
Being gobbled up, like Hong Kong.
Well, I think that they would also be a strong country to form, economic trade with like a zero tariff, to get them going, to get them funded, to get them started, to be able to raise their people above, sweatshop wages of 5 cents a day. Mm-hmm. That they've been under that kind of oppression for how long? I mean, for them to finally have an opportunity to truly be free as a people. Thanks, Trump, Joanne. That was very sweet of you. I just think that our first reaction with some of our Asian neighbors and brothers and sisters in Christ, we need to think of possibilities that benefit both.
Yeah.
And I think Trump is very good at that. I think he is very, very good at taking a situation and coming up with the best possible outcome. How do you go about getting to that outcome? And I just think that he's really brilliant at it.
Oh, he is. But Taiwan is we have been arming Taiwan for years, to my understanding.
Right.
I think.
Well, we armed Iraq against Iran too. Remember?
This is true. Well, that was kind of a stalemate war. It was really going nowhere. They were just killing each other. I mean,
well,
knock yourself
I got to
out.
tell you, I think the world of Trump. I'm thrilled with what he's done with his presidency. I wish that he hadn't had to deal with all the garbage, so he could have focused more on lifting us as a nation out. But if there is one thing that I absolutely love about that man, is he is so anti-war.
Yeah.
And it brings me great peace of mind and spiritually too, that he will do anything to avoid a war, but that won't stop him from dropping a bomb.
Remember the
I
Moab
love that about
he
him.
dropped on ISIS.
Oh yeah. He doesn't come to play.
No.
And if you ever notice, he doesn't hit out at other countries until they hit him first.
That's right.
Then he hits back twice as hard. It's kind of like a my dad can beat up your dad kind of thing.
He found out his dad could beat up your dad.
Yeah, my bomb can blow up more than your bomb can. I think people know better than to push it. I think the world has had an eye-opening experience. They know, don't push your luck with Trump.
Yeah.
Because if you swing at him, you better kill him. Because if you don't, you're going to regret it.
That he is. It's just, she baffles me because he has put his country in a very pickled place.
Yes.
And I hear from different sides of what's going on. Oh, he's a white hat, but he can't do it because of the black hats. I don't care about the hats. I want to know.
Yeah, me either.
I want to know the good guys and the bad guys.
I don't think she is a good guy. I really don't.
I think he's only doing this because he thought, like everybody else, he could get away with something that he didn't get away with. And if did you get to see the videos? And I think we talked about them last week. If not, we probably should have. The videos of all the people that were put on the trains after the pandemic. Oh, gosh. In China?
And what happened to all those protesters?
Oh, in
because
Hong
all
Kong.
those protesters were out in the street. Where are they?
That's right. Well,
did China just lose 21 million out of their population?
Mm-hmm.
How would you notice they've got 1 billion?
Exactly. Well, that's a good question because people have a habit of disappearing when they go against the grain. And the mainland did pass that law afterwards that people in Hong Kong can be tried in the mainland, which they said they weren't going to do.
Right. And you also have to consider those, here again, unsubstantiated reports of 21 million cell phones that all of a sudden were disconnected in China. 21 million cell phone accounts.
Well, I didn't hear about that. Wow.
Oh, I did.
Damn.
Yeah, there were a couple different reports on that. But again, it's another one that the mainstream media really isn't talking about. I don't think that the mainstream media really talked about the people being lined up in that square and then put onto trains.
I don't think they care. Today they don't care.
But there was video of that.
Mm-hmm. I'll try to find that real quick. This isn't Tiananmen Square. 2.0, because back then,
Right.
people were astounded. People were cheering. The media was watching and showing one man stood in front of a tank, defying that
Right.
tank. That man is brave. And anybody who else protested in Tiananmen Square.
CNN showed it. Leaked video shows hundreds of blindfolded and bound men being led to a train in China. It's a CNN story.
That's surprising.
Yeah, it is surprising because, well, I don't have TV, so I don't really get to.
I'll be damned. I think this might be it.
Did you find it?
I think so. Hold on a second.
As a struggling actor,
Let's see. Let's get rid of this stupid commercial.
as harshly targeting ethnic Muslims. The disturbing footage appears to show hundreds of detainees in Western China bound and blindfolded. CNN's Matt Rivers spoke with two former detainees who described the abuses they say they faced in similar camps.
Row by row, there are hundreds of them, seated on the ground, heads shaved, blindfolded. Their hands are bound behind their backs as dozens of guards hover in SWAT uniforms. It's unclear who these prisoners are, but Western intelligence sources tell CNN they believe the video is authentic, that it shows Muslim ethnic minorities, and that the video was shot in Xinjiang, China. Xinjiang is the Western Chinese region where the government has detained hundreds of thousands of Muslims over the past several years, according to the United States. Detainees are almost exclusively ethnic minorities.
Is this the one?
Yeah, that's it.
Minorities, including Uyghurs,
What happened
who have
to them?
lived in the region for
Where did they go?
generations, now housed in massive camps like this one that we saw firefirsthand on a trip to Xinjiang
Well,
in
what they
March.
do,
We were
my
followed by police
understanding,
every moment of our
is they quote unquote reprogram them. They don't really care very much for the Muslims, so they will change their mind, if you will.
six-day journey. Multiple ex-detainees and a former camp employee have told CNN that torture and political indoctrination are rampant inside the camps. Critics say Beijing has rounded up minorities arbitrarily and en masse in a blatant attempt to destroy their cultures and wipe out Islam within its borders. Beijing has repeatedly denied that, saying the camps are merely, quote, vocational training centers designed to counter Islamic extremism.
Yeah, didn't Hitler say that too?
In Xinjiang, which
Yeah,
has
that's
seen
exactly
terrorist
what Hitler
attacks in the
said.
past. A Western intelligence source tells CNN their analysis of the video, posted online anonymously last month, shows detainees transferred by train. Analysis by the Australian Strategic Policy Institute suggests the video was shot in the city of Korla in August 2018. In response, the Xinjiang government said in a statement to CNN, quote, cracking down on crimes in accordance with law is the common practice of all countries. Xinjiang's crackdown on crimes has never been linked to ethnicities or religions. Transporting inmates by judicial authorities belongs to normal judicial activities. But two men, one in the Netherlands and one in Kazakhstan, say the activity is anything but normal and that the video is terrifyingly familiar because they lived.
This is common practice, I'm pretty sure, in China.
Right.
And that's that. I mean, that's whether they're being deprogrammed, it depends. I don't think they would hesitate to kill them. And I'm not trying to be all shocker.
I don't think so either.
I'm just telling you the truth. Anybody who
I don't think China would blink an eye at killing people.
No, I'm, again, back to Tiananmen Square, back to Hong Kong. I'm sure many have died. Like you say, out of 1 billion people, how are you going to know?
Right.
they have.
And
go ahead.
I was just going to say that the only people who would ever realize that that vital aspect of their life was missing would be the family members of those people. And how are they going to report it?
That's exactly right.
There is no free press in China.
No. There has not been ever that I'm aware of. When this deal was made with the president, I was kind of hoping, call me gullible, whatever, but I think I was really kind of wishing this is a new era for China, that something good was going to happen. Then the Arona came around. Then we caught spies. Now we see them in Canada. This is terrible. Again, I don't think there's going to be, I'm not trying to scare anybody, but this is not normal, but don't panic until we get more information. I don't like to give misinformation as much as possible.
I agree. And that's why I say everything that I have been getting has basically been a quote unquote unconfirmed.
Mm-hmm.
And then you find out, like the video that shows the islands up in British Columbia, you find out it's 2 years old.
Mm-hmm.
Well, why are we just now getting this filtered to us? What's the point in that? So I guess I'm trying to, number one, verify that the information is real, and number two, that it applies to us today. Because so far I really, even that one we just watched with the people that were put onto those trains, that was 2018.
Mm-hmm.
So that's 2 years behind what's affecting our country today.
Mm-hmm. And actually, Kim Jong-un made an appearance the other day, which is good. He's still alive and up. But China has said to them, and I think, and I want to give people the benefit of the doubt, but with caution. And that goes for Kim Jong-un
right.
as well. Okay, he wants to westernize North Korea and have good relations. Great, that's fine. But China is still the puppet master of North Korea.
Right.
They're not going to break off that easy.
Yeah, that's another two countries that have a very solid relationship.
Mm-hmm.
China and North Korea.
Well, we actually almost won the Korean War if it wasn't for China. But China was kind of getting nervous. We're getting too close to their border. And MacArthur was kind of gung-ho. I love MacArthur. But he went around to the northern part of North Korea. And I think that made China a little bit too nervous.
I can see where, China would have been uncomfortable with that.
There is still talk of the Korean War to be officially over. It's still yet to really be ratified or any meetings that I'm aware of. Kim Jong-un has expressed interest in it with Moon, Prime Minister Moon, South Korea. So that puts the question, how will China act? Will they accept it or not? Who knows? I don't think it's totally up to Kim Jong-un. Especially with the aggression that China's kind of made in the past year. But
well, and if rumors are to be believed, it was President Xi who brought Trump and Kim Jong-un together.
Mm-hmm.
And before it was ever announced on the news. I mean, if rumors are to be believed,
right.
Again, there's another unsubstantiated, but it would be interesting to find out if that is true. And I hope that's a part of the D class.
Yeah, I know.
Because I would find that fascinating.
I mean, if
you do have to go down those rabbit holes, David. David just commented, you have to go down every rabbit hole.
Yeah, we do.
He's right.
Well, if we get everything from 50 years ago to the UFOs, scholars are going to be looking at this saying, what the hell were these people doing? And they're going to have a lot of reading.
Yeah, well, you realize,
a long time.
2020, and here we are as a nation, and they finally declass aliens, and nobody cares.
Everybody's been asking.
I mean, yeah, that's the U.S. in 2020, really?
Yeah.
I mean, I just find that hysterically funny.
What's more interesting? What's been going on the past 50 years or just UFOs?
Well, I think that people are so overwhelmed right now, still. So overwhelmed by what's going on. Number one, with coronavirus. Number two, with the destruction of our country. Basically the wiping of our history. I think that people are so overwhelmed that when the stories on the UFOs got released, nobody paid attention.
Mm-hmm.
You get to a point where you have to shut it off.
Mm-hmm.
Where you can only take in so much, and you have to shut it off. I don't know about you, but there have been many times where I have shut off social media. Mm-hmm. I haven't done a broadcast on my own channel in almost a year. Just so much going on, so many things happening,
mm-hmm.
and a lot of the times I'm simply shutting it off.
Mm-hmm.
I just shut it off. It's kind of a defense mechanism when your brain is just straining to take in everything that you're learning, and I think in the next couple of months there's going to be a lot of us feeling that way.
Oh yeah.
Because it takes us right back to that alien I'm reading what David said, aliens, to the elephant in the room, which is Obamagate.
Mm-hmm. And
that is absolutely going to be huge.
Aliens could land on the White House and they're going to say, oh, great. What's going on in Obamagate?
Yeah.
That's what's going to be.
Yeah, did they get Hillary for those emails yet? Is Bill going down for raping children? I mean, we're going to be so overloaded with information. It is going to be up to us entirely what we are going to be able to take in and process. It's a lot. It is a lot.
It really is. Actually, Mike Pompeo was on. What the hell was he on? Well, he was on Fox, and he was talking about the emails.
I didn't get a chance to listen to that. What did he say?
Oh, I got it right here.
You're awesome.
Pompeo, and sir, you are a West Point grad, and I know you know the Constitution very well. Earlier today, Speaker Nancy Pelosi said that she's going to introduce a bill to have a commission to study the 25th Amendment. Do you think that the 25th Amendment needs studying?
I don't. I saw a little bit of what she was doing. It looks to me like a political stunt. Everyone knows exactly what the 25th Amendment says. And frankly, more importantly, Dana, I've been speaking to the president a lot lately. There's no need for anybody to think about succession. He's doing just great.
Well, and he was talking about you a little bit yesterday as well on Mornings with Maria. He was expressing some frustration about these Hillary Clinton emails that are not declassified yet or released yet. Take a listen.
They're in the State Department, but Mike Pompeo has been unable to get them out, which is very sad. Actually, I'm not happy about him for that reason. He was unable to get them out. I don't know why. You're running the State Department, you get them out. Forget about the fact that they were classified. Let's go. Maybe Mike Pompeo finally finds them, okay?
And then just now on Rush Limbaugh, he had this to say.
She deleted 33,000 emails. She should be in jail for that. I don't even care if they're if they're very highly confidential emails. I don't care what.
So what is the state of this investigation into Hillary Clinton's emails at the State Department?
So, Dana, you'll remember I was close to this even when I was a member of Congress, when I served on the Benghazi committee now, what seems like a little bit time ago. We've got the emails. We're getting them out. We're going to get all this information out so the American people can see it. You'll remember there was classified information on a private server. It should have never been there. Hillary Clinton should never have done that. It was unacceptable behavior. It's not the kind of thing that leaders do. They don't put that kind of information out, and you can see whether it's Russia or China or Iran or the North Koreans who want to get their hands on this kind of information. Classified information needs to stay in the right places. Secretary Clinton, when she was here at the State Department, did not do that.
The president has the authority to declassify anything he wants. All authority is to him. Could he declassify it and order it released if he wanted to and if he ordered?
Absolutely. We're going to get there. We're going to get this information out so the American people can see it.
If he were to order that, would there be concerns about maybe health and safety of sources or methods that could possibly be in these emails if there's classified information?
So, Dana, I've been at this a long time with President Trump for 4 years now almost. I've never seen him do anything that would put any kind of asset, any kind of one of our officers in any harm's way. He wouldn't do that. We'll get the information out that needs to get out, and we'll do it in a way that protects the intelligence sources that we need to protect.
And last question on that, will that happen before the election?
Doing it as fast as we can. I certainly think there'll be more to see before the election.
All right, I wanted to ask you about China because there was a light touch of that topic at the vice presidential debate this past week, and I feel like the American people maybe deserve a little bit more on that topic since it is one I know that takes up a lot of your time. I know you recently met with the Quad. That's a group that started in 2007 of our allies to try to address how we are going to deal with China. You recently met with them, and I wonder what is our position at this point in working with those allies, especially in the middle of a global pandemic?
Yeah, two things, Dana. One, you're right, there was some discussion of this at the debate, and the Chinese Communist Party censored part of it.
Yes.
They censored the vice president's remarks. I think that speaks for itself about how our administration thinks about the threat that the Chinese Communist Party poses. Second, you're right. I traveled to Japan earlier this week. I was there on Tuesday. I met with 3 democracies, Japan, India, and Australia, and 3 big economies in those countries, all aimed at making sure that we can build out a coalition, build partners and allies around the world who understand the threat from the Chinese Communist Party in the same way that we do, so that we can protect jobs here at home. We watched when we came into this office, the Chinese Communist Party had stolen millions and millions of jobs from the American people. President Trump said no more, and we've begun to build out all the edifice of the structure and the allies and the coalition to push back against that. We aim to protect the American people from the threat that the Chinese Communist Party poses.
Well, China is not one to take all of this lying down. So what can you tell us about the efforts of this Quad in trying to push back?
Look, they're stacked 60,000 soldiers against the Indians in the north. When the Australians had the temerity to ask for an investigation of the Wuhan virus and where it began, something that we know a lot about, the Chinese Communist Party threatened them. They bullied them. We need partners and friends. They'll certainly try to react. But what the Chinese Communist Party had become accustomed to, frankly, for an awfully long time, Dana, was watching America bend a knee, watching us turn the other cheek and appease them. That only encouraged their bad behavior, their malign activity, our pushback. They understand we're serious about it. They watch that we're going to confront them and impose costs upon them. I am confident that this activity over time will change the nature of what the Chinese Communist Party tries to do to harm America.
And just one last question for you. So an issue, of course, that concerns a lot of people, but increasingly so around the world, and that is the issue of hunger. And today the Nobel Prize was given to the World Food Program that's out of the UN. And I'm curious what you can say about what the United States is doing to not only help here in America provide.
Well, just quick on that. You know, you have like UNICEF and all that, but they kind of launder money through it anyway. It's terrible that people do starve, but
Yes, I agree. And I think Africa's probably going to be going through it after the insect invasion from this summer. It's going to take them a long time to recover from that.
they usually do. I mean, okay, I get it's a war-torn country. A lot of the area there, move, get out of the desert. What's so hard about that? You guys don't have a home. Go to.
I don't know if that's necessarily possible. Because how many countries are on the continent of Africa? I forget. Is it? It's a lot.
Yeah, I don't know.
Where are you going to go? To the Middle East? I mean, everything's a desert there.
Well, you could.
There's very little lush land on the continent. South Africa is, I imagine, pretty lush, but the rest of it, I don't think there's much there to move to.
Well, I mean, there's got to be somewhere they can settle. There's got to be some farmable land there. They do farm. I'm pretty sure.
They do. I know they do in South Africa.
Mm-hmm. But, you know, it's other than that, you know, when it comes back to the question at hand of the emails, as we were talking before, I think they've always had these emails. Trump probably had them on his desk for all we know, or somebody.
I think they always had them too.
Because we had Rogers and the NSA, and probably a lot of people still don't realize everything that goes over the airwaves electronically doesn't matter. They know.
Yeah.
You can't.
Do you remember when, once again, rumor and nothing to substantiate, at least at this point, we haven't been told that there's something to substantiate. Do you remember when Clinton and Lynch met on the tarmac?
Yep.
Apparently, somebody was foolish enough to walk into that conversation with a cell phone in their pocket.
No way. Wow.
And, yep, and the whole conversation was picked up, and it was recorded by the NSA.
Mm-hmm.
And Rogers himself hid the tape under a file name that only he would know.
Damn.
That's the rumor.
Right.
Now, again, unsubstantiated. Until this garbage goes to court, we're not going to know for sure.
It's true.
But it's not going to surprise me to see that come out too. I think this Obamagate stuff is going to explode on these people. You know, they were walking into those meetings with Obama with cell phones.
Oh, they had to. Yeah. And,
yeah.
And as we all are very aware of, at least a lot of us do, they could switch on anything and listen to any time they want. As far as CIA, FBI.
And let's face it, the Oval Office is the Oval Office, but it's not a skiff.
Right.
It is not a skiff. And people walk in there all the time with cell phones.
Mm-hmm. I think that should not be allowed.
You're talking to the President of the United States and you got a cell phone with you? You're an idiot.
Yeah, I think that's one thing.
Just my personal take on it.
Yeah, that's very unacceptable. Well, it'd be nice if somebody did during their little meeting with Comey. That would be very handy. You never know what'll pop up.
You don't, and I'm sure that things will.
Probably stuff we haven't even thought of.
I think that Admiral Rogers was very quick on the uptake and very big on the defensive after the Snowden situation. I think that Rogers knew exactly who Snowden worked for when all of it went down. And I think he was absolutely furious. And it would not surprise me to know that Admiral Rogers was listening to every word. Every word.
I hope he did.
Mike Rogers is nobody's dummy. You don't get to be an admiral by being stupid.
Exactly.
And you don't get to be in charge of the NSA by not having a very solid grasp on how to, quote unquote, do things.
Mm-hmm. Oh, you're right.
Yeah, I think this country's going to owe Admiral Rogers a debt we will never, ever be able to repay. He and General Flynn both.
Oh, yeah.
They were huge in these exposures.
God bless their souls, I'm telling you. They are
Amen.
Amazing men.
True heroes. And I think Nakasone is following right along in Admiral Rogers' shoes.
See, I don't know anything about him, so I haven't even begun to even think about looking kind of his background, whatever. But the president appointed him, so he must be an okay person, you know.
Well, Mike Rogers referred him.
Oh, did he?
That was all I needed to hear.
Yeah, good enough for me.
Me too.
Well, it's. You also have Julian Assange, who is...
He's going to be coming here, yeah.
He's coming here. I'm still trying to figure that out. Now, Pompeo's pissed about Vault 7, which I will never forget his reaction to. Because
what was it? I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
Vault 7. It was all super secret programs that he had gotten a hold of. And Pompeo,
right.
You could see the steam literally coming out of his ears. Or otherwise, he's one hell of an actor. But now, what I'm hearing is he's possibly going to get a deal where he will be pardoned for all the information about Snowden. Snowden and Epstein and whomever, and Hillary, and we can never forget Seth Rich. I don't care what party he was from. He was doing the right thing. I agree. I truly believe it.
He was a bright young man with a very promising future, and those opportunities were stolen from him. My heart breaks for his family. That's just horrible.
And I hope somebody is indicted or implicated or whatever, because you can't tell me DC does not have video cams everywhere. That is heart of the center of our country, where they're not going to have any type of video whatsoever. Somebody had to seen something. And
I
know
agree.
Something. I think it's just another cover-up. I still believe, honestly, it's Clinton has something to do with it. And everybody's being tight-lipped.
I think that my biggest concern with Assange, I don't necessarily look at him as being a quote-unquote hero, but I do look at him as being exceptionally brave. He is a very brave man to do what he's done. I'm afraid that if he comes to the U.S., it is just going to be like Guccifer, and he will be found dead in a cell. Because I don't think that we can protect him. Now, if he were to come in and be under military protection, then I'd feel differently.
Right.
I would think that there would be benefit in him coming here. I just think that there are too many people here who benefit from his death. You know, being unable to speak, unable to release information. To me, he's safer in an English prison than he is here.
Right.
But there are still people who are guarding that prison who are just as vulnerable to payoff. Here's 100,000, kill him. I think any prison is going to have someone who would look at that as a possibility, just like the ones who were protecting Epstein.
I was just going to bring him up too.
Who conveniently quote unquote fell asleep.
I'm still in that rabbit hole. I still think he's alive. He knows too much valuable information.
I think he's gone, and I think that number one, good riddance, but number two, I think that the more powerful of the two, or maybe I should say the more evil of the two, is Ghislaine Maxwell. And you notice nobody's talking about her obituary.
You're right. She still must be kicking.
And she's talking.
Good. Just keep talking like Tweety
and that's
Bird.
The big thing. Yep, she's the canary in the cage.
Well, I just think it was too foolish and too sloppy to put Epstein in a cell with so much valuable information. Even though Maxwell has valuable information, maybe there's stuff either one doesn't know about. Who knows?
Maxwell's got video, though.
Well, this is true. But whatever happened to the videos that the FBI took out of Pedo Island? Haven't heard nothing about that, have we?
I am sure that is going to be a part of several cases in the United States pretty quickly, as soon as they've had a chance to investigate them all. I mean, again, you're looking at the federal government is presenting a case. They are not going to be willing to go into anything where they have a possibility of losing based on some simplistic missed step. Mm-hmm. They're not going to do that. They're going to investigate to the fullest every single bit of evidence they have, and that is what we should expect of them. It is up to us to be patient and wait for it to, shall we say, the caca to hit the fan, because it will eventually.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I don't see Trump allowing any of this to be covered up. Do you?
No.
I mean, he's too mad. He's furious. And when you just showed that video of him talking, I was waiting for the F-bomb to fall out in that interview with Rush Limbaugh. He's angry. He is, I think, to the point where he's actually furious. And when he is saying declass it all, he means it. He means it.
Oh,
everything.
Oh, yeah. What F-bomb like this?
Plus $1.8 billion in cash by Obama. A very wealthy nation, and now they're a very poor nation. And the terrorist organizations, I knock on wood as I say it, because it's easy to start something, but they're not fighting like they used to. You know why? They have no money, because Iran is bust. Iran is bust because of me, because of sanctions and other things. And the whole picture of terror, you don't see the terror. Now, I hate to say it on an important show like this, but I'll say it. You don't see the terror the way you used to see the terror. And they know if they do anything against us, they'll pay 1,000-fold problem. They're going to have 1,000-fold difference, because they know now that we have things that we never had before. We have strength in weapons and things that we never had before. We never had it like we have it now.
Right.
And Iran knows that, and they've been put on notice. If you fuck around with us, if you do something bad to us, we are going to do things to you that have never been done before. Happened to terrorism. Iran was at a...
I love his don't piss me off mentality. You come at me, you throw a punch at me, I am going to come back at you double. I love that. We haven't had, everybody's these other presidents, and I'm sorry, I think they were all crooked. And I'm talking, we're going all the way back to, like Wayne Jett said, 1933. There were very few presidents that weren't crooked. I don't think I need all the fingers on one hand for all the presidents who weren't crooked. But I think that this is the first one we've had who has been more focused on the true America first instead of diplomacy. Well, screw diplomacy, because all diplomacy has managed to accomplish for this country is more war. It hasn't brought any world peace. And when you've got countries in the Middle East signing peace treaties with Israel as a direct result of this president, why would you vote for anybody else?
Exactly.
I don't get it.
Well, didn't you know he grabbed somebody's butt? Whoop-de-frickin' do. I had this discussion.
I don't think, you go back to that conversation in that video everybody tried to make such a big deal about. And I had a friend who was like, how could you vote for him? How could you vote for him? I said, is this coming from the same woman who was commenting on a certain male just last week and how you wouldn't have, it wouldn't bother you if you had to tie him down? I said, is this coming from the same woman? Really? Don't be a hypocrite.
I had this conversation. Sorry.
Did you have somebody throw that stuff in your face as well?
Yeah. I mean,
if all of us are honest, there hasn't been a time in our lives where we haven't thought it or said it.
Yeah.
Something inappropriate, sexually inappropriate about whomever. Where you haven't at least thought it or said it. I want to know who that person is. I mean, besides Jesus Christ and a nun, I can't think of anybody else who, if they're being honest, wouldn't admit to it.
Well, I don't know. I don't know how this conversation really gets started when I talk about things, but it usually does. We're talking about Biden and all this, and I don't like Trump. I said, well, why? Well, he grabbed somebody's butt. So? I've heard women say worse. I literally have.
Yes, me too. And the difference between saying it and acting on it are two completely different things. And I think if we as human beings, being attracted sexually to something else or someone else is a normal thing. God made us that way. And I think if we are truly honest people, we will all admit that we've thought it or said it about another human being, something very similar.
Well, it's just funny the way that one thing from Billy Bob, whatever the hell his name is, still resonates with some people, and that's the one thing that irks them the most. I have not only heard it, I've heard so much innuendo in one evening from coworkers, and it's a woman that it makes everybody blush.
Right. And she does that on purpose.
It's in a joking way.
It's in a joking way, but she does it on purpose.
Yeah.
And I try very hard not to say inappropriate things at work. I do work with one other gentleman, super nice guy, thank God, super nice guy. Sits right, his desk is right next to mine. Just think the world of him. He's an amazing guy. He would never open his mouth and say something like that to me, and I would never open my mouth and say something like that to him. However, Trump's little oopsie on Rush Limbaugh, oh yeah, we both said it. In moments of extreme angst, like when my computer shut down for the third straight time within like 2 hours, and I lost all the information I had processed. I had to shut everything down and reboot. I almost ripped that thing right off my desk and pitched it out the window. I was cussing up a blue streak. I was so pissed off. And he was sitting over there chuckling at me, because he knew exactly how frustrating it could be, because it's happened to him too. So, but as far as inappropriate language sexually, no way would I ever do that at work. Never.
Even when
Not
I'm
worth
online, I have a hard time.
Never shit where you eat, man.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, never shit where you eat.
That was from that's a line from the movie Payback. You ever see that with
Oh, is it really? No.
Oh yeah, very good movie. William Devane, that was one of his explanations to Mel Gibson. He played like a mobster, and
right.
Mel Gibson was kind of like a grifter, stealing and all that. And that's about all he did. But back to this. I don't even do that in chat rooms hardly. I feel embarrassed. I feel it's more polite. Yeah, the women will do it, but I can't do that. It's kind of weird. And people think, oh well, you're just so polite and all this. You try to be respectful, you know.
Well, professional, just professional.
And
I don't blame Trump for dropping the F-bomb. I think Iran now knows that he dropped the dirtiest word he possibly could have on live radio, live podcast, and he meant it.
Oh yeah. He don't say things he doesn't mean. Like that.
Yep. You're coming at the U.S., we're coming back at you 1,000-fold.
Well, it's also funny that they will probably end up using that, saying, oh, well, see, he used a dirty word. He's a human being. He's just a guy. He's your neighbor.
He's talking truth.
Yeah. And when people will take, remember how we used to always joke that they say he's like a god and all that jazz, just to trigger the trolls. It still works today, and I haven't seen that meme in a long time. Well, he thinks he's a god. I says, no, he's not. He's a human being.
He's just telling it like it is, and at least his perception, and I guess when you're in a position of that kind of power, your perception is what counts. I don't know what caused him to light up like that, but it was like Rush Limbaugh pushed a button for a specific reaction, and he got it.
He got it.
Yeah.
I like unfiltered Trump. I don't care if he swears. It doesn't bother me. And it should.
I did not elect Donald Trump to be my pastor.
Mm-hmm.
I helped elect Donald Trump to run my country.
Mm-hmm.
And for other countries to think before they actively pursue terrorism against our nation or our citizens. I would rather have the guy who can drop an F-bomb running my country, because I know those other countries aren't going to risk. They're not going to do it.
Well, you know he's serious.
Oh, yeah.
And he
so do they.
means it.
Yeah, I don't think that they're going to be foolish enough to push his buttons that way again. So whatever happened that got him, because it was like Rush Limbaugh knew something, or he would never have, jumped in, and Trump reacted so quick. I mean, it just came out of his mouth so fast. Something has had to happen that we're probably not aware of. And it could have been a simple exchange of words or, whatever. They made another threat. I mean, they're famous for making threats against the U.S.
Oh, yeah.
But I think Trump's just done. He's done with letting other people think they can push him around. He's done. He's been pushed around as far as he's going to be pushed around, and he's not going to take it anymore. And that was the whole point in the D class. And that's why he's frustrated with Pompeo, because Pompeo does have to redact several of those emails. I mean, you have to protect the identity of our foreign agents. But Trump's done, man. I'm telling you right now, he's not putting up with it anymore. And it wouldn't shock me to see him fly Air Force One over to get Julian Assange and bring his asshole, back to the States.
Right.
Nothing Trump does in the next couple of weeks is going to shock me. I think he's done with being pushed around.
Oh, yeah.
I don't blame him.
Well, he tries. You can even see he's very transparent that when he's trying to work with Crazy Nancy, but Nancy does not realize she's not getting anywhere. And, Trump says, okay, I'll meet you halfway. Nope. Nancy wants that little extra inch. He says, no way, I'm gone. He walked out of the negotiations. That's also what I like.
Right.
If he doesn't like it and he knows that we're being treated unfair, he's
not afraid to walk away.
He's going to walk.
Yeah. He's not afraid. He wants it his way or the highway.
That's why he's the boss.
Yep.
Another thing is when a few weeks ago, before the debates, which was a shit show for Joe, he says, I'm only paraphrasing, he says something about Joe has no energy and he's a shot in the ass. And Trump did say that at a rally. He shot right in the ass, man. But
you gotta love Trump. I mean, he's just so brash, and he doesn't care. And
no,
how can you not love that when we're living with the outcomes that we're living with? I mean, I'm sitting back, and people are like, "Well, these riots are happening under Trump's watch." I says, "Yeah, and who's paying them? The Democrats." It ain't rocket science. I mean,
but
people see it for what it is.
But people are either not wanting to see it, or they're not paying attention to
They're
see
intentionally not seeing it. Yeah. They're ignoring the facts intentionally. Very, very dear friend of mine who I love beyond belief. She's just probably one of the coolest people I know. Was in a conversation with my mother the other day, and she said to my mother, she goes, I love her with my whole heart, but she's one of my best friends, but I can't talk to her about politics. And my mom says, is that because she knows too much? And my friend instantaneously shut up.
It's amazing.
I don't. Yeah, well, because I'm striving to find the truth. I don't affiliate with a single political party. I'm not a Republican. I'm not a Democrat. I am an independent, free-thinking, intelligent, and motivated American. My friend is devoted to the Democrat Party, and I keep pointing out the flaws in that. And every time I point out the flaws, she'll hurry up and change the subject. And so I finally started saying to her, I'm sorry, I was being too honest, wasn't I? We can't have honesty in this conversation.
Yeah, you can't.
So people are starting to see it. I saw a very interesting video on YouTube today. He was a middle-aged black man, very eloquent in his speech. He ran into a friend on the street, and what he was doing is he was inviting people into a pizza and chicken place and trying to get them signed up to vote Republican.
Mm-hmm.
And he ran into a good friend of his, and he's talking to him, and the guy goes, "Hell no, I'm voting for Biden." Well, he starts a conversation with this man, and he just starts pointing out the facts. But I noticed that it was in the way he spoke, not what he said. I mean, what he said was the facts, but it was the way he said it.
Right.
His friend told him, he goes, "You got my vote. I'll vote Trump in November." And I just thought that that's what's wrong with the rest of us. I get frustrated with myself when I can't communicate with somebody without getting angry at their, shut off the truth mentality. To me, the truth might suck, but at least you know where you stand.
Mm-hmm.
Know the truth. And I've been begging this friend to shut off CNN and MSNBC for a year.
Mm-hmm.
Please shut that shit off. You are being lied to. You are being programmed. Shut it off. And she won't do it.
Right. Well,
so I got to figure out, like, the tactic that this man had today. I got to figure out how to talk to people the way he did, because he was just so real, man, and he was so sincere, and really rather eloquent in how he presented his information. It worked. He swayed his friend.
Well, having a conversation with a lefty is like talking to a rock, because it makes no sense. I mean, I had a conversation with someone about these stupid masks that we gotta wear when we go into the building. I says, I'm not going to that store because I don't believe in it. Well, why? Well, it's against my liberties, freedom of liberties. She goes, well, you're just a follower. And I says, well, Trump tells you to wear a mask. I says, well, I don't. How can I be a follower if I don't wear a mask? And Trump's telling me that makes no sense. It never, when they go into the race and you hear the volume of their voice get higher, you know they've lost.
Yeah. Yep. And the name calling, like we talked about last week, I mean, that stuff has to stop. We got to quit belittling each other, and understand and accept that there's going to be those people that we love and care about who disagree, and that's fine. But you should be able to freely and with respect talk to your, the person eloquently, concisely, and with respect. And I think that that's a talent that we have lost in this country. And as I was watching this man today, I just was so impressed with him. I thought, wow, that dude's got it together. That guy knows how to present the facts in a way that was persuasive without sounding like he was trying to sell Tupperware.
Mm-hmm.
He was factual. Every single bit of information he presented was the truth. And a third party walked up into their conversation and realized what they were talking about. And he goes, no, man, Trump 2020 all the way. So they ended up swaying their friend. And I thought it was just really cool the way that they did it.
I wish it was that easy. I'd like to learn that technique as well, because I've talked to a few people and they don't like what's going on. Yeah, well, Trump makes sense. And then all of a sudden, well, I'm going to vote for Biden. What changed your mind?
Right.
in between here and there.
Right.
Somebody was
Yeah.
saying,
Hey, this video went up. Let me check. This video went up October 4th, and it's got 240,248 views.
well,
This man talking, and he was so passionate and eloquent and to the point, and talking about serious issues that truly affect Black America. And it was so nice to hear. And I guess one of the things that I just really flipped over the dude at that point was he said, we need to stop saying we're Black. We're Americans.
yeah. I think
And I
remember you
love
saying
that.
When it comes to, and I wanted to find it, I had it together about what happened Saturday. There was a Trump supporter murdered by Antifa.
Where?
I think this was Portland. Unfortunately, they had a small group that I can recognize. Then you have one guy, this is what they do. They had somebody on the side with a gun. And now you have a large group here. There's probably about 5-6 Trump supporters. You have one Antifa guy, or Black Lives Matter. One of the Trump supporters went over this way, and he was shot dead by some lady.
You are kidding me.
No, I'm not kidding you. I wish I was. It's very unfortunate, the bullshit of this group, and I cannot wait till the day they become an actual terrorist organization, so they can all be rounded the ass up. This is very disturbing that happened. It happened very quickly. It happened. Yeah, let me get that one from YouTube.
All right, y'all. So I'm back.
That's
we up
that
here
guy talking.
Yeah, I got it.
But
Thank you.
tell me more about how.
Well, what they do.
I guess I don't understand how that happened. You have that everybody that YouTube link right there is this man talking to his friend. It's just such a beautiful speech. I wish I had his eloquence, but I don't.
Well, I'll play you this while I'm looking for that clip. I did have it handy.
Okay.
All right, y'all. So I'm back. We up here registering people to vote. And I got my brother, man. I've known for a long time. Love this dude to death, man. He's a really good dude, right? So I say, hey, bro, you registered to vote this year? And he's like, yeah, I'm voting. I say, who you voting for? He was like, you already know. I'm like, Trump? He's like, hell no. Hell no. I'm like, bro, are you serious? So he's asking me, he say, Cash, why? Why vote for Trump? Okay, before we get into it, because I'm going to break it down to you. Why are you voting for Biden?
I think he's a better person.
Why?
Because what's going on now in the situation with Trump.
What Trump situation?
What's going on now? Shit just fucked up. I believe he could come in and do a better job.
You really do?
I believe.
What has he done? You know he's been in politics for 47 years. What has he done in 47 years? What has he done in 47 years?
A lot.
Like what?
I mean, I just believe he'll do better than
Did
Trump.
you know that Biden, in 47 years of politics, has only been a racist, said racist things about you and me, personally, as black people, and made a bill to incarcerate black people with Bill Clinton, the crime bill. Look it up. The man just said you ain't black unless you vote for him. All right? He also said he didn't want his children going to school in a racial jungle. didn't want integration. He was for segregation. Also, not only that, he also said that poor kids can be just as bright and just as intelligent as white kids. Meaning that black, brown, red, yellow are poor. When he thinks poor, he doesn't think white at all. He's thinking about you and me. The dude ain't did nothing but hurt black people. And then his running mate, Kamala Harris, she's got a career of locking up black people. A career. Now, let's move over to Trump. You asked me why I'm voting for Trump. Before Trump was the president, did not everybody love him? In their music videos, rap videos, all the magazines. He got awards from black communities in the NAACP. Everybody loved him. But then when he came to president, they said he's a racist. Why? I'm going to tell you why. Because when he came into politics, he started what he said, drain the swamp. He started taking out all the, not just politicians, the evil, corrupt politicians. Fired them, took them out, made them go away, and put in his people. Did you notice since he's been president, the economy has been better than it ever been. Unemployment at an all-time low. More jobs created than ever before. He stopped making us an importer and made us an exporter. To me, that means we make more money. People talk about the wall that he wanted to build over there in Mexico. Do you know why he wanted to build the wall? And remember they said that he was racist because he said that my brothers and sisters that's Mexican is murderers and rapists and stuff, right? That's not what he said. If you listen to the clip, he said that the MS-13, the gang, are rapists and murderers, not Mexicans. Not Mexicans. But they twisted that to make everybody around us believe that he's a racist. Okay? Then they say, make America great again. What does he mean? When was America great? When you talk about make America great again, what he means is make America, like what I just said, an exporter again. Have jobs again. Have people believe in the American dream again, that they want to come to this country and they know that they're going to make it. Had nothing to do with race. All right? Not only that, the man gave funding for the next 10 years. This has never been done. For historic black colleges and universities. The HBCUs. Barack Obama didn't even do that. He did prison reform, meaning which directly affects us as black people because we fill up the prisons. You feel me? He said, if you're a nonviolent offender and it's just like drugs or something and you ain't kill nobody or pull a gun on nobody, you can come home, man. There's programs set in place for you to be able to come home. He did everything he could to show by his actions that he ain't a racist and a damn good president. He did all of that. Yet we still running around here, the people that only watch the news, we're saying, hell no, we voted for Biden because Biden was with Obama. Or Biden did so much great, but nobody can tell you none of the great that he did. But they could pull up every single thing that he's done to the black community. Specifically, Hillary Clinton called us super predators. Matter of fact, if the man isn't a racist, why did he speak at the KKK members' eulogy and said that he was his hero or inspiration or whatever? So why does he deserve your vote and not the man who's actually showing you that he cares about you? The president that's done more for the hood, black community, Hispanic community than any other president since Lincoln. You feel me? Why would he? You know me, bro. I'm a hood nigga. You know me. So why would I be telling you that? Bill Clinton's the one that did that crime bill, but they pushed it. Exactly. He knows his stuff. He knows his stuff.
See, like Trump, he gonna bring the jobs back. Though.
He been bringing them back, and that's why they did this coronavirus shit.
Like you say, he say that export. Now we'll be the biggest export instead of China.
Exactly. He brought steel manufacturing, the automobile industry. They said that was dead, and look at us now, booming. They hit us with coronavirus. You notice that when coronavirus hit, they said everybody got to stay in the house. Nobody could go out. But yet, if you're Black Lives Matter or Antifa, you could go out and protest and burn shit down, and nobody's gonna say nothing. But the coronavirus is so bad. We out here standing with masks. You feel me? Why? It's an agenda. So, bro, the reason why I'm having this conversation with you is because it's important. Your vote is very important this year. They've been getting the black vote. You know, Lyndon B. Johnson said that I'm going to have these niggas voting Democrat for the next 200 years. And we do, blindly. Latinos and blacks. We vote Democrat blind as hell. Don't even know why we do. We just do. Did you know that the black people are the ones that started the Republican Party? Did you know that? We were Republicans. They crippled us with welfare, Section 8. They kicked us out the homes, bro. Made the woman look at you and be like, I don't need you. I'll take care of by the state. I'll go get food stamps. Which led you to be upset, me to be upset, go out and sell drugs because we trying to prove to our family that we can provide even though they ain't giving us no jobs. Then we get locked up under that crime bill. And then we're locked up and we're stuck there. That was under Biden. 47 years, bro, in politics, and they did nothing for us. Trump, people have already loved Trump for forever. Why would you want to be the president of the United States when you're already a billionaire? You have every woman that you could possibly want at your feet. You don't need the fame because you got the fame already, right? So what reason would he have to become the president of the United States? Did you know that he's never taken a check since he's been in office?
$1. Yes.
$1. Every other check he's donated while being president. He's the only president in history for his net worth to drop, to go down. That's why I'm asking you if you registered to vote, bro, so you can vote for the right person who's going to help us out, man. Who's going to do more for this, not just even us as black people, because it's not about that. We need to even stop calling each other black. We American, bro. You feel me? We are American. Straight up. So can you do me a favor? When you come in here with me, I even feed you a slice of pizza. Register to vote. Come kick it with me and my kids for a sec. Make sure you register to vote, and then think about it. Just make sure a little update. All right.
For sure.
Can I count on your vote? I'm out here for a reason, bro. You know I ain't gonna lie to you. I never have. You been my dog. You feel me? You been my dog, bro. You always gonna be my dog.
You just highlighted some shit to me.
I'm trying to tell you. If you want, I'm gonna give you my new number.
You highlighted some shit to me.
I'm trying to tell you, brother. I'm trying to tell you. They the real racist, man. They tell you Trump's racist and can't give you nothing to show that he's a racist. But I can give you everything to show you that he's not. But I can show you clip after clip after clip after clip after clip in its entirety of Biden saying some messed up racist stuff, bro. And then his actions, the bills that he's passed through, he got behind, were racist. Directly targeting you and me. So why the hell would we give him our vote? They think we're stupid.
That's perfect. I think that was
he's
done.
I just loved it. I mean, he had me glued. I was listening to every single word he said, and I was like, you know what? Why can't I be that clear and that concise when I'm trying to explain things to people? I mean, this dude, he knew his stuff. I was so impressed with that video. But the best line in the whole video is, we need to stop calling ourselves black. We're Americans.
Exactly right.
I love that. That was so great.
That was absolutely perfect. And, even there's some people who don't even get that. Because you go fact after fact. And I brought this point up as well as what he did about what the Democratic Party was and still is.
Right.
And they still don't get it. It doesn't get through. I don't understand it. And
well, again, it's a situation where people don't want to see the truth. But the old Democrat Party, I think, is what they're continuing to hang on to, and the principles of the old Democrat Party. The problem is the Democrat Party that they thought themselves to be a part of no longer exists. And it hasn't existed for a very, very long time. And when you are so busy and determined to bury your head in the sand, to not see the truth, to not, like David said, dive down those rabbit holes and go looking for the truth. When you're not prepared to do that, it's still going to be the Democrat Party of old.
Yes. Well,
even when it isn't.
Well, I had a conversation recently of somebody, a commercial just kind of came on of Trump, and I says, man, he's just a really good guy. I'm telling you. He goes, well, why? He he's gotten sick just because he wants sympathy. I said, no, he doesn't. He has put every single thing, his life, his everything for us, all of us. And the person just didn't get it. Well, I'm still going to vote for Biden. I said, okay. You know, if you can't understand
the simple fact of the matter is I don't see Joe surviving past Inauguration Day.
No.
I don't know. I don't put anything past them. Same way I don't put anything past the Chinese. Dirty people don't care.
Mm-hmm.
It's their agenda. And if you're in the way, you get removed.
Yep. Unfortunately. And that's when I go back to the good and evil analogy. You know. But when it comes to Joe, I've heard he's had 3 strokes. I'm suspecting dementia. And somebody said recently Parkinson's.
Yeah, I'd heard the rumors on Parkinson's. I didn't know about the strokes, but I'd heard the rumors on Parkinson's. I don't understand how anybody can look at Joe Biden and not see elder abuse. Because he's being forced into this. Mm-hmm. He's obviously not capable of, you know, defending himself or anything else. I think he's too far gone. Mm-hmm. I think that he is very far into his dementia. Mm-hmm. And I think that they're doing what they can to hide it, but it's not going to work. But to me, it's elder abuse. When you're putting somebody, you know, with his, I guess what we've been led to believe is, you know, just him stumbling. What I look at as being, he can't tell the difference between his wife and his sister. That's dementia. Mm-hmm. I see it as you are torturing this man, and you need to be prosecuted for elder abuse. That's the first thing that goes through my mind anytime I see something like that.
Exactly. Exactly. Right there. 25th Amendment. That's what Nancy is up to.
Yeah.
If Biden gets in, and it's a huge if, they will remove him.
That's a great point, Wayne. Did you see Wayne's comment there? He says that's why Nancy is pushing the 25th Amendment.
Yep.
So true. Because there's always a motivator. There's always a reason for everything they do.
Mm-hmm. Well, it doesn't mean they're going to still try for Trump on this because he's going to win.
I agree.
They're already saying, well, because he was sick, you know, he's doing his usual crazy stuff.
Who? You mean Joe?
No,
they're Trump.
The media is talking about Trump that way.
Oh.
Yeah. That's the flip side of the 25th agenda. I mean, they didn't rule it out. Because you think they're still not going to go through this if Trump wins or when Trump wins? Yeah, they're going to. They're already setting up a council.
Think they know that they don't stand a chance at survival when Trump wins. Mm-hmm. And they know it.
Yeah, it's total cray-cray. And it's not Trump. It's all of them.
And it's panic.
Mm-hmm. The Democrats and liberals are the most unsubtle people you've ever seen in your entire life. It's like, hey, this is what we're going to do, and this is why we're going to do it. this is how we know. And this is why it pisses them off, because Trump doesn't say nothing until it's too late. And then there's nothing they can do.
Well, I think that now Trump's at a stage where he's so angry. I mean, that's all I see in him. It's in his face. It's in his expression.
Can you blame him?
The things that he's saying to drop an F-bomb. I mean, come on. He's pissed.
Yeah. You always want to stay on his good side. Exactly. Well, how do I want to say? Yeah, if he's got you in his sight, he's going to get you one way. Or let's just put it Chuck's way: 6 ways till Sunday. Remember when he said that about CIA?
Right.
Well, he's going to do it 6 or 7. He's got to go that extra mile just to screw with him. But the whole, they're mad because he's made so much progress without the House, and because the House has not been able to stop him, and there's no way they could. He's making peace deals with people that nobody's been able to do, between Israel and the Middle East, and more supposedly coming along. If I heard correct, there's another one in talks. I can't confirm that either, but it's just that strange thing. But when it comes to here, people are writing, and I want to warn people, and I'm going to give you a heads up. It's a split second. If you don't want to see it, I totally understand. I did find that video.
Okay.
Of this.
I would like to see that.
So it did happen Saturday.
Okay.
Okay, let's see here. Oh, okay. Oh, hold on. I gotta move that up.
Show me that! Show me, motherfucker! Show me that, nigga! Don't fucking touch me! Touch me one more time, you're gonna get it! Next person to fucking touch me! Mace me! Fucking mace me, bud! Walk up to me and fucking mace me, nigga! Mace me, motherfucker! Mace me, motherfucker! I got the right to stand my ground! Fucking mace me! Go ahead and fucking mace me! Go fucking ahead and mace me, nigga! Fuck around and find out! Don't touch me, old man! Don't fucking touch me, old man! Don't fucking touch me, man! Don't fucking touch me! Fuck around and find out! Fuck around and find out! Fucking tough guy! You got a knife at the time, you're so fucking tough! Fuck around and...
That is very horrible. What had happened, and it was Antifa. They are known to do this. I've seen it happen in Kalamazoo on film, where you had Antifa, you had the Proud Boys, and you had one guy in the middle. Somebody flanked, came around and hit somebody in the head. It's getting out of control. And I think these governors, something legal should really come across to their desk, let's just say. And
when did that or what city did that happen in?
I think that was Portland. And I noticed that's kind of like a hub, because everything happens in Portland. And there's somebody running there who is an open communist. It's very sad that the man wasn't doing nothing. I'm just lost for words. I don't know. I can't express how bad I feel for the guy. He didn't do anything. And a lot of people.
Which one ended up getting shot? Because it happened
pretty fast.
So oddly on your video, I couldn't tell which one ended up getting shot.
Okay.
Oh, it's in Denver.
Yeah, it's yeah. Okay, hold on a minute. No. Okay, let's see. Let me play it just a little bit. Okay, now look over. See the man in the white? Look over his way, right behind him. See, there's a man's back.
I can barely see the guy in white.
Okay, here, let me see if I can enlarge that for you. Better?
No, it's not showing any different. I guess I just want, I'll keep looking. I see the person going down there.
Yeah, it was kind of over this way. It's very, very quick. Right there is the man standing.
I see the hand with the gun.
Yeah. And
I do see that.
It was a lady, though. Yeah, it was some woman.
Why did she shoot?
Antifa. They don't care.
She was Antifa?
Yeah. Definitely. She did surrender. So I haven't heard anything prior. I think, yeah. Words.
Did she shoot him in the back?
No, shot him in the front. From what it looks like.
So he was facing her.
Yeah. There's a couple more videos where you can actually see her pointing the gun at the guy. I don't have that.
I can't even get it to pull up at all. I'm kind of surprised.
I'll send it to you. You might be able
There it is. I think I just found it. Warning, this video contains.
These people are deranged. And
they are. They're off the hook.
I have no more words that describe these people. I'm it's so vile. The way they act, and the people who allow them to get away with it is unimaginable. Who would ever think?
So he sprayed her with pepper gas, so she shot him?
That I don't know. I did not see that. Even if she was sprayed with pepper gas, there's no reason to shoot him, But that's what they do.
Yeah, I agree.
What? I don't know. The governor, the mayor, should be held accountable and liable for that city. Anything that goes in that city, and has been.
If they are allowing violent protest, let's face facts. There's nothing peaceful about what's going on with these people.
No.
And if these governors and these mayors and the city councils are going to allow this type of behavior to continue, then they need to be financially liable. And so should their city be financially liable for the outcomes of those protests.
Yeah. Too many innocent people have died and got hurt, they got robbed, they've lost everything. Because they allow these thugs to roam around.
Yep.
And you have
had their businesses destroyed, their lives destroyed.
And you have Joe Biden and Hollywood actors bailing these son of a bitches out.
Yeah.
And in New York, what is it? You don't have to even post bail. They just let you out. They'll book you, you're gone. I think that's what it was. They don't do much to you. I mean, and they wonder why people are moving out of cities like this. Can't figure.
Man.
But hopefully that is not too graphic for the audience. I know I don't mean to shock anybody.
It's so quick you barely see it.
Yeah.
It just knowing the outcome of it is what is so disturbing.
Yeah.
America, man, we got to do better than this. Come on.
And
we need to be like our brother in the first video, you know?
Exactly. Totally.
We're Americans.
Absolutely. And somebody keeps saying, several people I should actually say, that while win or lose, there's going to be violence. While the president has the Insurrection Act at his disposal. And I would not, if they want to get rowdy, I'm sure he'll do what he has to do.
Well,
and
I think that he is trying to be as cautious as possible until after the election.
Mm-hmm.
But once the election's over, I think hammers are going to fall.
I hope. And I hope it's a lot of governors that allow people who died.
They're not going to have a choice.
Mm-mm.
They're not going to have a choice.
No. And who would ever thought, you know, we'd never heard of these people up until, 5-6 years ago? You've never heard of these people. You knew there was communists here, but not these assholes at all.
Right.
So it's very troublesome indeed. And you have a young kid who was defending himself and others in Wisconsin. They're putting that kid on trial.
The kid who defended himself?
Yep. He shot somebody.
I'm not surprised.
But he was...
Well, so have all the Antifa people. Why are they out on the street?
Well, if you have like Wheeler, you have like Dirk, what's-her-face, in Portland, they don't care. As long as they leave them alone, like the mayor and the governor, they don't give a shit. And there's got to be some law, and I don't know, that will handle it. And if there is, it should be handled like Mr. Barr needs to look into it, which more than likely he is. He says he's been tracking all these people.
Yeah, I think they got a very good idea who these people are.
Well,
very good idea.
Exactly, and Project Veritas really did a good job because they really they got some good names in there. They got this one guy, he is a known communist who is actually looking for funding for all of these activities from a guy, it was Stevens, I believe. He was a Democratic presidential candidate. They wanted to ask him for donations. I think they may have, I'm not sure. But then they have, of course, Soros. They have a couple of lefty, they're in the arts. And one's a political science professor.
Well, even Kamala Harris has admitted to giving money to get these people out.
Yeah. And why would even the black community vote for her anyway? She has put people away for minor offenses. And that, from
well, not just that, she she point blank got caught in the lies, like her father said, she didn't grow up the way she talks about growing up, like being in college and smoking a joint and listening to Tupac.
Mm-hmm.
But you're going to put people away for smoking a joint? Come
Yeah.
on, lady. Really?
Total double standard.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my gosh. Well,
Yeah. By the way, Tupac wasn't singing then. He didn't have an album, and I think he was ungodly young at that point. So she totally lied about that anyway.
Just like everything else.
Yep. Shouldn't surprise you.
Nope. Well, I don't know how many people have been following the scandal of Joe with his assault. Actually, Mark Levine, I won't play all of it, it's too long, but he kind of had some comments about, what's her name? I forgot. She did a 60 Minutes interview. The lady Joe allegedly assaulted.
Oh, what is her name?
Oh, I forgot.
Maybe somebody in the chat can tell us.
Yeah.
I'll know it the second I see it. But for the life of me right now, I can't pull it out of my brain.
I haven't seen her in a while.
He pushed me and up against the wall. He kind of pushed, he moved his body towards me, and then he used his knee to separate my legs. He said, he said, I want to f you. Jeez. And he was whispering in my ear, and he was kissing me, and I was trying to get away from him. And then when I pulled away,
you're what?
He had taken his hands and
Yes.
put them down my skirt, and taken one hand and penetrated me with his fingers.
He raped her. What she discussed there is rape. That's what it's called. It's assault, yes, but it's rape. Joe Biden has never been seriously questioned about this. He's had a few friendly reporters, but he hasn't been pressed hard. And it is shocking to me that we have to go to an Australian magazine program, 60 Minutes in Australia, not 60 Minutes in America, to get the facts, or at least to get the specifics from the victim. CNN has no interest in this. MSNBC has no interest. And quite frankly, I'm not aware of anybody has any interest in this. That's why we do it here on Levin TV, on the Blaze TV network. There's a lot of static out there. You know, the media are looking for all reasons and any reasons to try and handicap and defeat this president. And it really is quite appalling, the influence that they are exerting. Not so with Joe Biden, though. Joe Biden doesn't get analyzed. Joe Biden, they don't ask for his health records. His background's not looked into. 47 years in Washington, no matter. His family's gotten rich off his name, no matter. Instead, they push books, they push articles, they push speculation, they push disgruntled family members, whether the president's wearing a mask when they think he should wear a mask, and all kinds of Mickey Mouse nonsense going on out there. It's really, really quite appalling. Lost in a lot of this is a woman by the name of Tara Reade. Tara Reade was once a staffer for Senator Joe Biden. Tara Reade has come forward, which takes a lot of guts, and accused him basically of molesting and frankly raping her in a public place. The New York Times, the Destroyer, so, and they basically raised doubt about her. Same with the rest of the left. It's amazing. The Me Too movement is no movement at all. You don't hear a word from Hollywood. You don't hear a word from anybody. Other women have come forward too about Joe Biden. A Secret Service agent's wife, another woman came forward. Women came forward and talked about how he touched them inappropriately and put his face in their hair inappropriately. Well, Tara Reade was invited to speak on 60 Minutes. Not 60 Minutes in America, 60 Minutes in Australia. Now, last time I checked, Joe Biden's not running for president in Australia, but you got to give credit to the Australian media. They're really quite good, as opposed to the American media, which is clearly protecting Joe Biden. Joe Biden is now being portrayed as this righteous individual who follows the social distancing and does this, that, and the other, versus this brute and bully, Donald Trump. Well, let's take a look at what took place on 60 Minutes on Australia, because I guess this is going to be the only place in America that's going to take a very, very close look at it. Not a hit and run look, a close look at it. So let's get started. Go.
I worked my whole life to empower women. I worked my whole life to prevent abuse.
You saw him up close as a politician.
Correct.
What kind of political operator is he?
The kind where he smiles, it's like a wolf in sheep's clothing, right?
Here I am in the Senate office.
Long before Joe Biden was a household name across America.
And here's my desk.
Tara Reid worked in his Senate office in the early 90s.
Here's a good picture of Senator Biden.
It was her dream job. She hoped it was the start of a long career in politics.
He was a political hero of mine because I bought into the image. And I really believed he was someone to not only admire, but also I wanted to be like him. Like I had hoped to be maybe a senator or a congressperson.
Now, do you remember the last debate in 2016 with Bill Clinton in the audience?
Yes.
And he had all the victims of Bill Clinton there?
Right.
That's what I wish he had done the last debate, is had this young lady there. I do like to be very careful when I hear stuff like this from either side.
Right.
Because we found out Stormy Daniels and God knows who else were all shills. I don't know I don't really know a whole lot about this lady, but with him dodging the question, do you think he can kind of get the impression that it's true?
Nothing that he has done would surprise me. I would like to know when it happened.
Well, with him touching wives when you're on a live event and inappropriately touching children and talking about children,
right?
It
could be real.
Someday.
And here's the view from my window.
You sound really happy.
Yeah. There's my computer. And there's my posters.
I was such like a little puppy, like so eager and happy. Yeah.
Tara says it wasn't long, though, before her political hero turned into a predator.
He would just put his hands on me. He would, whenever there was a meeting or if I would see him, usually he'd put his hand on his shoulder and then he'd run his fingers up underneath my hair, on my neck, and things like that. And I had never experienced that with a boss.
Now let's stop there. We've had many, many women come forward and say exactly the same thing now. And we've even seen many of these women on video. How he touches women, he touches their neck, touches their cheeks, touches their hair, touches their back, their shoulders. And by the way, young women, middle-aged women, and older women, doesn't seem to matter. Go ahead.
And I didn't know him. It's not like there was like small talk, like where we would, you know what I'm saying? There was no reciprocal relationship or flirtation. There was nothing like that. So it was just very much him coming into a room, putting his hand on me or whatever.
Did you ever tell him, don't do that to me?
No. I was too scared to say that. I didn't say anything.
Did he touch other women?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. He just didn't, he seemed to lack boundaries with women.
Some might try to pass the behaviour off as a sign of the times.
Reid was among several women who said Biden had touched them inappropriately.
He's now threatened to undermine his bid for the White House.
No, that ain't right, man. That ain't right.
But it's a pattern of behaviour that remains today.
Those Joe Biden shoulder massages, they're like magic. You should try one. Oh, you have?
Well, maybe that's something we don't know about Barack yet, do we? if he's giving Barack, or I should say Barry, shoulder massages.
Joe Biden recently vowed to be more mindful of personal space after 7 women came forward with claims of inappropriate touching.
I hear what they're saying. I understand it. And I'll be much more mindful. But I'll always believe governing, quite frankly, life for that matter, is about connecting.
You know, this is what's amazing. He's been told how to try and talk his way out of it. He's creating a different narrative about connecting, and he's a people person, and he's a toucher, and so forth and so on. Now, we've come across people like that, but you don't basically molest somebody. You don't fondle somebody. That's not a people person. That's a pervert. Go.
But what Tara Reid claims happened 27 years ago in an open corridor of the Senate is much worse.
So we were alone in this corridor, and he said my name, and then the next thing I knew, he pushed me and up against the wall. He kind of moved his body towards me, and then he used his knee to separate my legs. He said, I want to f you. Jeez. And he was whispering in my ear, and he was kissing me, and I was trying to get away from him. And then when I pulled away,
You right?
He had taken his hands and put them down my skirt, and taken one hand and penetrated me with his fingers. And when I pulled away, he pulled back, and he looked at me like kind of almost annoyed, and he said, "Come on, man, I heard you liked me." And that's when I could see that he was angry, and he put his finger kind of towards my face, and he said, "You know, you're nothing to me. You're nothing."
Imagine what this woman went through psychologically and emotionally. She knows no one's going to believe her, especially back then. She knows if she says a word, the senator will deny it and destroy her. Just imagine what she went through. This is the quintessential case. Why things have changed, at least hopefully since then. So women can come forward and women are to be believed, and then you have investigations and so forth. But at this point, she's young, first year in the senator's office. He tries to take advantage of her. And today, nobody cares. It's just shocking to me. Go ahead.
Confiding in her neighbour, Linda Lacasse.
She basically said that he had put her up against the wall. He put his hands up her skirt, and he put his fingers inside her.
All right, so let's stop there. From a legal perspective, this is called corroboration. Not that she was an eyewitness to the event, but that many years ago, the same story was told to her. Really, it sounds like the same exact story was told to her. Go ahead.
I said, "I think you should file a police report." So she was upset. She was crying.
Did you doubt what she was saying at all?
No, I didn't.
What prompted you to come forward and publicly corroborate her story?
I felt that I needed to tell the truth.
Did Tara ask you to come forward?
I volunteered.
You filed a written complaint to the Senate, but in it you only mention Biden's inappropriate behaviour. You don't mention the sexual assault. And I'm wondering why you wouldn't mention that, because there is a very big difference.
Well, I don't know her answer because I haven't watched this. I'm watching it with you as we go along, because she was humiliated. You know, I have a daughter, I have a granddaughter, I have a wife. I think about this. It's humiliating. And to come up against a powerful senator, it's not so simple. Go ahead.
And sexual assault.
Because I was afraid to. I mean, I consciously did that. The way they had it set up at that time, it was you fill out this form and hand it back. I didn't know who was reading it, and I was too scared. So I thought at a one-on-one that I would reveal that and talk about it, but I didn't feel comfortable.
After nothing came of the harassment complaint she says she filed to the Senate in the 90s,
Tara Reid emotionally describing what she says happened in the spring of 1993.
it wasn't until 2019 that Tara then shared her story publicly, saying that Joe Biden touched her in ways that made her uncomfortable. But, just like her formal complaint at the time, it was only half a story. She says she wasn't ready to talk about the alleged sexual assault.
So what changed for you? What made you think, no, I'm going to tell the full truth?
I decided that people needed to know he's going to the highest office of the land. He's running on a platform of character. Well, I know what he's like. I know what his character's like. And he doesn't deserve the presidency based on what happened to me.
Now stop there. That's exactly why the media will not cover this. Because they've chosen sides, and so they're going to protect Biden. I bet they know even more about Biden than we do. Biden has had a cozy relationship with the Washington media for half a century. Donald Trump has had no relationship with the Washington media. And so they all know a lot about each other, that is, Biden and the media. But the media have to know a great deal about Biden, and they're covering up a great deal about Biden. Tara Reid, in some ways, destroys that narrative. Can you imagine in the last 3 weeks of the election, Joe Biden having to actually answer substantive, direct questions about Tara Reid? Maybe Bob Woodward should have written about it. Maybe then it would have gotten into the public forum. Or maybe John Bolton should have written about it. Or maybe the Atlantic should have written about it. You get my point. The media cherry pick what they want to use, even as flimsy and ridiculous as it may be. But when it comes to a substantive person, another human being, not a Trump supporter, but another human being who was abused by a candidate, they have no interest whatsoever.
For more, sign up for Levin TV.
So that would have been a nice thing to bring up at the debate, but I don't. It looks like there's not going to be another one.
I feel so bad for these women. First of all, they have to go through the humiliation of being the victim of an assault, because basically that's exactly what that was an assault.
Yeah.
And then to have to continue to be persecuted, ridiculed, degraded, humiliated, debased, because the person who had, or you had the misfortune to be assaulted by, is their favorite candidate. That just sickens me. And they want to complain about Trump saying something about where to grab somebody? Really?
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know. She sounds very believable to me.
Mm-hmm.
I think because there were so many others that came forward who were credible as well. I have no doubt in believing her. But after what happened with Kavanaugh, I tend to be very careful with claims against people in prominent positions. However, like I said, you've got 7 other women that are all standing there ready to testify and state this is what happened to them. It seems to me like he's a serial offender.
Well, when he's dodging the question, there's a red flag. When he's saying, I never worked there, that's a red flag. When you see him on TV rubbing somebody's shoulder, that's an assault as well. And it's like, who cares? You know,
right.
Nobody's calling this guy out. And if they have, they've done a shitty, poor job of it and let it go. He does it all the way in front of their husbands, their boyfriends, whomever, their family. He's a cretin.
Yeah, and I don't think that the wife of a Secret Service agent is going to waste time lying about something like that.
Sure.
To me, that's one of the most credible of all the people who've come forward. And I'm really shocked that that Secret Service officer didn't take care of things. If you know what I mean.
Yeah. I get sick when all these politicians get away with shit like this.
I agree.
It's like they can do it.
And celebrities, same thing.
Pardon?
Celebrities as well, they get away with it too.
Oh, yeah. Look how long Weinstein got away with it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just vile. It's hard to hear talk about.
People knew about Weinstein. They knew about him.
They did.
They knew what kind of person he was, and they knew what he was doing. And not a single one of them spoke up about it.
Well, I'll say it again. They had a small joke about Weinstein on Seinfeld. It did not resonate because I don't know who he was back then. But apparently they did.
Really?
Yes, it was Elaine is the one who made the joke. I wish I knew.
What did she say?
I know his name came up. I can't remember, but they did reference him. Indeed. I know. Let me just say, I can imagine how hard it is for these ladies to come forward, given the repercussions that it may bring. But I'm glad they do. Don't be afraid.
Well, what's the difference of whether I'm not wording that right. How do I want to say this? When a victim is placed in a position of being a victim, let's all admit that most of the time, like 98% of the time, it's not by any choice of ours. Very few of us actually choose to be treated this way. So you're the victim of this crime. Why remain silent? Or, on the flip side of that coin, why speak out? You're going to sit back and you're going to measure the consequences of your decision. And I think that she is right when she said no one would have believed me.
And that's sad.
Yeah.
And
yeah, it is.
And Congress not doing nothing about it. She reported him apparently. They just said, "Oh well." Apparently, I don't know.
I'm not a bit surprised.
Well, it's not. It's happened on the Republican side too. You had.
Oh, absolutely.
You know.
This isn't a single party issue.
Yeah.
This is both sides of the fence on that one.
And that's
they both done it.
And that's the difference between. I think the Democrats will say, "Oh no, it didn't happen," but we would say, "Yeah, it did happen, or probably happened." But it also happened on our side as well.
Right.
You know, they will totally deny it, just like they denied Brita Broderick and the other ladies that Bill Clinton assaulted.
Well, I'm honest to God, I just can't wait for this election to be over. I really can't.
Yeah.
And I realize that the chaos that's going to follow behind it, but I just need it to be over with.
Yeah. Well, there'll be help
I'm at the point. Hopefully. Yeah, well, I'm at the point where I'm getting back into the, need to shut off the social media for a while kind of thing. And maybe that's what I'll do this week and just kind of concentrate on schoolwork. And I'm doing a Lean Six Sigma project right now, so it's not as if I don't have a few other things I could focus on. But there's so much that's going to come out, it's mind-boggling.
Right.
And it's frightening.
It's muted. No, it doesn't look like it's muted.
What is muted?
No, I don't know. Wayne said it was muted. I don't know. Can you hear okay?
I may have my hand over the talking piece on my phone. I'm sorry.
Okay, it's all right. I can see the meters move, so it should be all right.
Okay.
But I also have a very bad tendency to talk very low. All right. It might have been just me. I tend to get that way. Sorry.
Well, we've been going at it for a couple hours, so that's probably why.
Well, no, it's sometimes of the subject, or I'm uncomfortable talking about it. I get very low.
Right.
And this is one of those uncomfortable subjects.
Yeah. And I think it's about to be an explosively uncomfortable topic for a lot of people. And that includes Hollywood, includes politicians. It's going, we already know it includes royalty. I really think that this is going to get ugly for a lot of people.
Hell has
This
no
doesn't-
fury.
This doesn't come down to just a quote-unquote Me Too movement.
No. Right. You are exactly right.
Far-reaching ramifications in this one.
It's exciting. I personally can't help but keep up because there's always something new. I see so much information, my head is going to explode. I can't keep up, literally. The little that I can find for maybe an hour or two scope goes on for 2-3 hours. There's just so much information.
Yeah, it's almost like spin the wheel and see what it lands on. That's your topic for tonight.
Exactly. I guess we can call it a night.
I'm heading in and getting ready for a big day tomorrow. Classes start tomorrow, so it's going to be rather hectic. Thank God I got the day off my job because I'm going to need every bit of it.
Oh, I'm echoing? Sorry. I didn't touch anything. I hope I'm not echoing again.
I don't hear you echoing.
Oh, well, the audience might.
Yeah.
I hope not.
I'm kind of shocked they haven't heard me moving around getting ready for bed.
Did you want to plug anything? Say anything before we leave?
Again, just the same thing. Be very aware of your surroundings. People are crazy, man. They're doing all kinds of stuff. Just be careful. Look out for each other. And be kind.
Couldn't agree more. Please be kind. Let's say some prayers for our president, vice president, and their families for the best in health and happiness and wisdom. And, God bless the president, vice president, and the normal group I do. I'll just kind of shorten it tonight. That's military, law enforcement, and first responders. Okay, I'll work on that. Thank you. And God bless the Secret Service that protects our men and women in government and our president especially. Thank you very much. And just everybody be safe. And
Absolutely.
It's still going to be a bumpy ride. It's, as the president says, the best is yet to come.
Amen.
And it is. And we will be celebrating tremendously. I will see you next week. Same time, same station, Sunday at 10:30 for Fighting for the Republic. I will do my regular scopes that I do whenever things come around and I got time to jump on. And I appreciate all of you who have joined and will hopefully retweet and share. Any comments, please leave them in. Please join on Facebook, YouTube, possibly. That's always a question mark. DLive, Periscope, Twitter, Twitch, and I will see you all extremely soon. Don't forget to follow our friends Boogie Bumper, UK Neil. We have Coffee Talk with Sandra, and of course Promises Kept and Speakeasy. And Phil D'Angelo does his shows on Tuesdays and Thursdays, 6:30, I believe. So please watch everybody. We all have a little bit of information that we have that others may not. Don't want to miss a thing. Have a great night.
Thanks for having me, Russ.
Oh, you are very welcome. And as usual, you are welcome any time back.
Thank you.
You're
have a good night.
You're a great friend. And I appreciate you being here.
Well, thank you. Thanks for having me. Good night, everybody.
As I disappear.